Welcome back to the Irish Mags Show. It is episode 84. Episode 84, Chris Show. 84 is a
Well,
number we've used in the past when we do that meme where we say it's been 84 years since Newcastle United have signed a player. That is no longer the case.
no,
I also feel like it's been 84 years since we've started recording this podcast because we lost Alan Williamson due to Wi Fi issues. And this is my third or fourth time doing the intro. So, keeping it fresh.
it's gone really well. It's gone
It's
really,
going
really well.
really, it's going really well. To add insult to injury, my microphone packed in earlier today, so I'm on a shitty old work headset. So just go easy on us this week, listeners. We are bringing the podcast early this week as well because there's so much happening in the transfer window. In fact, Newcastle United's transfer window has very much come alive.
Mm,
Finally, Krisho, you and me and Alan and everyone spent the last few weeks since the season ended like that meme of the guy with the stick and he's poking the thing and he's like, "Come
yeah,
on, do something."
yeah.
Newcastle United are finally doing things,
Yes,
and we're
they
going to
are.
talk about those things today. One on board, Anthony Langa is on the bus, in the building, in training,
Mm,
and in a Newcastle kit. But
looks
there's a
good.
lot more been happening since, and as I said, the transfer window has sprung into life. Before we do any more, though, Chris, Show, there's a little bit of Irish Mags news that we want to put out there. We
Yeah.
would have got we would have got Alan to tell everybody, but he's not here. Um, the Irish Mags, we're going to be doing our first ever official golf outing
Mm,
when the new season starts. So normally we do pubs and we do five-a-side and we do various things, traveling to games. We're going very sophisticated this time around.
yes, we
We're
are.
having a golf day, a golf outing, and where we are at the minute is the date isn't fully locked in yet. We are looking at the weekend of either the Liverpool game, which we know is on a Monday evening,
Mm,
or the Leeds United game, which is the following week in around the 30th of August. So it could be, let's say, the 23rd or the 30th, give
yeah.
or take the day and the dates. But what we are looking for is anyone who's interested in playing in said golf outing. Krisho, you are not invited. You are not sophisticated
Yes, I
enough
am.
for the
Ha
Irish
ha.
Mags.
I was one of the first people to get, and I'm also going to be signing autographs there, everybody. So no worries.
Oh
I'm
wow.
all there.
Oh wow. Okay.
I mean, like a big deal. Like seriously, like big deal. No, no. Look, like you were going to say, it's just get in touch with Al. Al loves getting DMs from everybody. He loves it. Yeah. Apart from he doesn't
Lives
like
for
it.
it.
He doesn't like getting DMs from me, but he likes people slipping into his DMs, telling him how great he is. Just get in touch with
Blocked you a
him.
long time ago. In
Yes, he
fairness.
did. Yeah, he did. That's why I'm back on Twitter just to annoy the heart out of him. But that's by the way, that's news this week. I'm back on Twitter, but or X. But yeah, just get in touch with Al. Your name, what county you're from. I think, like you were going to say, Paul, he's looking to kind of centralize it somewhere,
Yes,
so
exactly. Yeah. So
everybody
we,
can get to it.
yeah, we're going to try not to obviously. I mean, naturally, a lot of things happen in Dublin because a lot of the
Mm,
Irish Mags group is from Dublin. But if there's enough interest, kind of like Dublin and beyond, depending on where people are saying they're coming from, the aim is to try and pick somewhere that's somewhere in the middle. It's going to be tricky. It would be easy to say Athlone, but then if there's nobody from the west, then suddenly Athlone gets further away. But going to look and try and get as best as possible somewhere that's within reach of everybody
yeah,
that wants to attend. And Krisha will be buying pints, and
yeah.
because he thinks he's going to sign autographs, I would also advise if anyone hits a wayward tee shot and you Krisha was in your eye line, just don't shout for. Let it happen. Let it happen.
Sorry, I'm well used to it. No, look, and also, Paul, we have to mark this right. This is the first time, I believe, in 84 shows that it's just you and I.
This is a big date. This is like our first date. We're on a
Yeah,
Tinder date, you
yeah,
and
yeah,
me.
yeah.
Yeah. We're going to
I,
try and make it speed dating. So,
I know we
just
slept in the same bed in London when
of course,
Newcastle
and
were
we
there.
spooned many times. Yes,
We've
of
spoken
course.
many times, and
Yeah.
now we're on
But
this
this is
kind of
oh, this must
virtual
be our
date.
second. This is our second Tinder date. So wow, we've progressed. Moving on up in the world. Oh dear, I wasn't expecting all this. I'm getting chills and goosebumps here, Grisho. This is
Yeah,
very romantic.
you're not, you're a liar.
Uh, Sorry, listeners, for this, but this is happening, and I'm happy with it, Grisho. We had a
Yeah,
great
good.
2 days in Newcastle, and we spent an entire day drinking together when the Forest game was on back in was it February?
Yeah,
I think it was
February.
February.
We have to get over. I'm not going to sell it. You going to sell it?
I am planning to go to Cella. Yes, I do have to submit my thesis not too far away from the same date, so I'm just
Mm,
monitoring progress of that. If Cella was on tomorrow, I wouldn't be going, but thankfully, I don't have to
yeah,
submit that till next month. So,
I won't be there. I'll be in Italy, kind of sailing around in Capri and Amalfi
oh
Coast.
well, the la di da sophistication of it all. I was
Oof,
wrong. I was
oof.
wrong.
Yeah,
What a
but
tough life you lead.
I really liked it. Look, just for everybody listening, the Sella. And if you're worried about bringing the little ones or anything else, the Stella crowd is a right crack. It's a great
Yeah, it's
weekend.
a great outing, isn't it? Yeah.
Everyone has a really good time. It's no nonsense. And the last three times or two times I think I've been over, we had a right good couple of days. You know, it wasn't all
I've heard.
just booze and falling over the place. It was a right good crack with everybody. So yeah, looking forward to the photos and videos from that. And yeah, Espanol and Atletico
Atletico
Madrid.
Madrid. Yes, indeed. Atletico Madrid.
So everybody hope they have a good time.
Yeah, Eddie
Yeah,
Howe's old friend Diego Simeone. That'll be a nice little reunion with the two lads.
yeah, because
Um,
he trained with them, right? Or he
he
went up
went
and
over,
watched the
yeah, after
training.
he left Bournemouth, he went over and he spent time with Diego Simeone. He went on a kind of a fact-finding kind of a
Mm.
upskilling journey around the place. He was in Denmark, I think, as well, but he spent considerable amount of time with Diego Simeone. And I think that's where he came back with a lot of the intensity and the kind of style and the mechanisms for driving a high intensity team, really, because Simeone is a lot of that. I mean, he is cracked. So there we are. We'll move on then to Newcastle United things because now we're going to talk about a lot of the rumored incomings, Christian, because there's been new
Mm.
names since we last recorded. But there is not an unexpected piece of news, but probably a piece of news that draws a little bit at the heartstrings of some fans, and then other fans may be relieved depending on which school of thought you have. But the news is broken today. Hasn't come from the club yet. On the day of recording, David Ornstein, who's arguably the most reliable transfer source on the internet, has reported that Leeds United's bid of £12 million plus 3 million add-ons has been accepted by Newcastle United, which means Johnny Longstaff would be leaving the club after spending basically the entirety of his career here. And I think it's fair to say, Chris, unbelievable servant to the club, obviously
Yeah,
local, stalwart, always gave 110%. Everyone kind of would openly admit, even himself, he would admit, not blessed with technical talent and skill sets compared to other players and midfielders in that squad. But what
yeah,
he did bring was just that 110% represented everything the club has been about pre and post takeover. And look, we'll always have PSG.
yeah. I mean, look, we talked about him a lot, and I complained about him a great deal. Yeah, but there was no way of getting away from the fact that whenever he played, he would fit into the system perfectly. He followed Eddie's instructions perfectly. He played it right across. He was always in for a tackle. He always did the transition so well. And he always seemed to pop up in the right moment, either for a shot or for a tackle. He was always in the right place at the right time. Very impressive. But at the same time, when you're like we had discussed before, when you have someone like Tonali and then you have Longstaff, you can really see where the club are going. There's a complete difference in class there and skill level and just athleticism, talent, and look at it's. I'm just really I'm sad that he's gone because I would have liked him to have played a part in the stratosphere reaching that we're attempting at the moment. But look, at he's 27. If he was 23, if he was 22, I don't think we'd be selling a local fella. I think we'd be keeping him in the squad and hoping that he improves. But he's kind of plateaued a little bit. He's 27, I think, like you guys were saying. And he's at least, let's put it this way, he's had the good sense and the love for the club that he has that we've got 12 million plus 3 million add-ons for him. It could have been absolutely nothing in 12 months' time. And just to confirm, it's just gone up on Sky Sports 2 minutes ago that it is confirmed. Leeds have agreed a deal for Sean Longstaff, 12 million plus 3 million add-ons. He'll have a medical tomorrow or hang on, he'll have a medical in 2 days' time or 3 days' time in Leeds, and he is officially a Leeds player. Documents are being sent
Nearly,
and signed.
nearly, nearly.
Well, well,
Yeah,
he's nearly officially a Leeds
you
player.
never know, but we wait until it's official, official, official. But look, I think the big thing on this for me is he deserved to move to another Premier League club. He is a
Yeah,
Premier League level player for me, and of all the clubs he could have gone to, obviously he's not going to go to Sunderland. Leeds is probably a great shout because it's actually not that far away technically from home for him, right?
I
And
mean,
he's been in Newcastle
Yeah,
all his
Jordan Henderson wouldn't even go back to Sunderland.
life.
He went to another red and
Went
white
to
jersey.
Brentford.
Brentford.
Yeah. Crazy move that actually. I'm surprised he
Nobody
didn't leave.
wants like. And let's talk about Sunderland real quick while we're here. So Al doesn't interrupt me with shaking his head because he's not here. But
I can do it on his
Sunderland,
behalf.
well, go ahead, right? But Sunderland have signed what, 5 to 6 players, have they? And I don't know any of them at all.
They have.
30 million here, 21 million here, 17 million here. And I'm like, who are these players? I've never heard of them. Have you heard of any of the players that they've signed?
I've heard of at least one of them. Now, the counter argument here, just in case this comes back to haunt us, Crucio, is
It won't.
I'm fairly sure you would never have heard of Antoine Semenyo, Brian Mbuemo, Johan Wissa before they arrived in the Premier League. I could probably say that with confidence because I hadn't really either. I knew about Mbuemo, that was the only one. So
Yeah,
just
You're right.
there's an asterisk, but those clubs are a lot more well run with far better scouting departments. This does look like a risky enough,
Yeah,
strategy to spend a lot on those players. But the window isn't over, so you never know what else is in store. However, if and when it all comes crashing down, we'll be the first ones to enjoy it and notice it.
yeah. I love
Because
it. I love it if we beat them.
yeah,
When
because
we beat them.
well, I mean, we've got the easiest 6 points going in next season. We'll be looking forward to that.
Oh, delicious.
But yeah, I know you're right. It's interesting strategy for sure. But back on Longstaff, then I just wanted to shout out. I mean, you know, you could look at his career and kind of over like at a high level and just go, played tons of games, tons of minutes, worked his balls off, represented
Mm.
the club, carried himself well. Not a great goal scorer, but a scorer of great goals, or at least important ones.
Important ones.
If important ones. If we look back, the first thing that comes to mind was the Southampton second leg of the Carabao Cup run, where we ended up losing to Man United in the final. He
Mm.
scored a brace in the was it the first or second leg? I can't really remember,
I
but
think it was
in
the
the
one at St
semi-final,
James's Park, wasn't it? Was
yeah,
that? Yeah.
and scored a brace to fire us into a cup final. Not many Newcastle players can say that. Never mind local
Mm-hmm.
boys. Also was one of the four goal scorers on that amazing night at St James's Park when we smashed current Champions League holders PSG, and that must have been like talk about a dream come true for himself,
Yeah.
Dan Burn, scoring at St James's Park in the Champions League. And the other one, even more recently, was he scored the winning penalty, Crucial, wasn't it,
Yes,
against
he
Nottingham
did. Yeah.
Forest
Yeah.
in the Carabao Cup final third round this year?
Yeah. To keep us going.
That kept us in the cup that we went on to win. So, he walks around Newcastle. He never pays for a pint again, and deservedly so, as far as I'm concerned. Fair play, Sean
No,
Longstaff, and we wish
yeah.
you all the best.
Yeah. Fair play, Sean Longstaff, and his brother Matty. I think is still doing well over in Canada. He wasn't going to make it, but Sean did make it, and I
He
won't
did.
have anyone stand in front of me and say that he didn't make it because he did. Especially in the
Absolutely
last
did.
2 years, 2.5, 3 years, he definitely has made it. So he's kind of lived his Newcastle dream, and he's really hit as high as I think that he could have got Champions League goals,
Well,
so
put it
on like
this way,
that.
Chris, Show, he's probably in the top 1% of like young footballers to come through and play professional football. It sounds crazy, but it's true. When you think about all of the players, young lads who play football, who go up through different levels, different
Mm,
academies, they say 1 in 200 gets through an
Jesus.
academy and gets a professional contract and has a professional career. So when you boil it down to the numbers, fair play, Sean Longstaff. He lived the dream, and yeah, I think everyone wishes him all the best for his career.
Do yeah, don't score against us
Don't score against
on the
us. Don't
30th
be
of the
like
world.
Yankuba Minta. We hate
Yeah,
that.
that guy, what a toad that guy is. Yeah, no, no, no,
Yeah,
please
yeah.
don't. Just get injured, or say that you're sick. Get a sick note
Yeah, get injured
for
so
the
then he
side.
can watch it. He can watch it in the Millburn
Yeah,
in the Gallowgate and have a pint on the day. That suit him.
yeah,
All
exactly.
right. No more word on any other departures from the club as yet. So we won't be talking too much about departures, but we do have a lot going on. Even in the last 2 days, I'm actually exhausted from it because
Yeah, it is. It's a lot, isn't
I've
it?
been trying to do this thesis and I keep getting links to tweets and things because I'm trying to stay off social media. There's too much going on to stay off it in terms of
Mm,
what's being flagged. So look, let's start with the biggest news, Krisho. This started with, I think Luke Edwards is one of the first tweets I saw, and then Romano,
boo.
actually David Ornstein, started to come along tweeting it as well. And this was the rumors or the word that we, Newcastle United, were back in a couple of seasons later for Hugo Ekitike, who was just off the back of a cracking season at Eintracht Frankfurt. Is linked with a lot of clubs because a lot of clubs are looking for strikers. A lot of clubs want our current striker, which we'll talk about. But
Mm,
Before we move on to what's happened even today, where there's a lot of Isaac talk happening,
mm.
um, the initial news that broke, Krisha, was that not only do we want to sign Hugo Ekitike, but it's with a view of playing him alongside Alexander Isak. And for me, that kind of opened my mouth for two reasons. One, the fact that we're willing to spend this amount of money, which looks like we'll break our own transfer record and spend more
Yeah.
than what Isak costs.
Mm.
And then two, it can only really mean some form of tactical change if the two of them end up. It won't be for the whole season, but in a game where we expect to see Ekitike and Isak on the field, unless Gordon is dropped, if Gordon is playing or if Barnes
Look,
is playing, then there's a whole that's a tactical shift for me away from the 4-3-3.
I don't see, when you say Gordon dropped, I see Gordon sold. Now, I know
Wow.
that seems rather sensational, right? But if, if, for instance, right, we get Ekatike in and we spend, I don't know, 75 million plus 5 million, 80 million pounds, right? Which I think they've turned down already. So maybe 85 million pounds, right? And I don't know whether that's pounds or euros. Would it be euros? It'd probably be pounds, would it? Eight,
Normally, yeah, because
no,
we're
because that's
talking
a
about
hundred. No, hang
money.
on. Hang on. That's 100 million
I
euros.
think I think a bit of 60 came in before from to be honest, which probably
Yeah.
in yours might come over 70, 75. But
I, there's no way. Look,
uh,
get Nekatike in, right, and he could go anywhere at this stage of his career. His agent knows that too. There's no way that he's been brought in. Like I saw a lot of formations over the last couple of days, where Joe Linton's been taken out of it, and it's just Bruno
madness,
Tonali,
madness.
Isaac Gordon, Alanga, and Ekatike. And I thought, hang on a second, where's Joe Linton? You must be mad. No, 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 no. That's not going to happen. But if it does give us some tactical fluency to change things either mid game or to have substitutes like that, I just can't see him being bought for that much money and being a substitute ever. So he's got to be have been uh, bought for the project to be a starter. He's got to be, right. You can't spend that much money, right? So that then brings to mind to me that it's a Langa, Isaac, Ekatike, and that's either Barnes or Gordon out the door because they're not going to hang around and play second fiddle on the left wing. Barnes definitely isn't because I think he wanted to go last January anyway. He was giving out ding dong about not getting enough games. So this is where I have a worry with our team is that this is all very, very exciting. And we'll talk about the Isaac thing in a minute, but this is all very exciting. The project, going into the stratosphere, going after everything, brand new team, this, that, and the other, new attacking, the best attacking six in the Premier League, right? But problem is that like somebody has to be shifted to the side, Paul, if this guy comes in, and like I said, we'll get into the exact thing now in a minute where people think he's going to be offloaded for whatever, 130 million pounds, which is a load of nonsense, basically. But I do see that possibly Gordon might be one that we could let go of all of the players that I've just mentioned, including Bruno Tonali. Gordon would be somebody that could possibly be sold coming up to the end of August just to recoup.
Mm, like it's not out of the question, I think, because and the reason I say that also is because there's talks today of Luis Diaz leaving Liverpool to go to Bayern, even though I
Mm-hmm.
think the bid was rejected. Arsenal notably in for a left winger, so there may be interested parties. The only thing I'd say as a counter argument to your points, even if we use Liverpool as an example,
Mm.
um, playing on Champions League, Premier League, usually going far enough in the cups, but not all the way, as we know in the Carabao Cup.
Haha.
Haha. They did that with the squad. If you think about their front three, because they play not dissimilar formation, they always
Mm.
usually have a front three. And God rest his soul, Diego Jota, Darwin Nunes, Cody Gakpo,
Mm.
Dominic Soboslai, Mo Salah, someone I'm forgetting about, Harvey Elliott,
Diaz.
Diaz. There's another one.
Mm.
They basically have six forwards in a three. In a formation where you play three.
Yeah.
You need that. And all of those guys know that when they joined, particularly like in the last year or two, Gakpo, for example, right, joined in the last year or two, he would have known that, yeah, I'll have to fight for my place. But even if I'm not the first choice in the final or in the biggest games, I'm going to play a shitload of games for a big, big, massive club who went on to win the league. We need, like, not only do players need to realize that, and they'll be smart enough to know that, we probably need to move away from what is our best 11,
Mm,
because we had the luxury of playing our best 11 95% of the time when there was no injuries, because we had no Europe and we had no midweek
yeah.
games and crash out of the FA Cup. We're going to have a lot more games, hopefully, as many as possible in this season. And, Isaac won't be able to play 3 games in a week. Gordon may not be able to play 3 games in a week, with the intensity. So I think that there's enough adult conversations happening to go, well, look, you know,
We need
when
two
we're used,
11s.
when
We
we're
need
you
two 11s.
you need 2 11s, but you need to have options, but you need to have quality. And like, if I'm Eddie Howe and I'm sitting with Harvey Barnes, and I might say to him, look, we're playing Real Madrid on Wednesday. I'm probably going to go with Gordon and Isaac, and you'll be on the bench, but you'll probably be starting against fucking Burnley or Everton on the following day, because on the following weekend, because Gordon has played 2 or 3 games in a row. Like, I think there's enough rotation and adult conversations happening that if the club wants to keep all these players and can afford to keep them all, we need them all and we'll use them all, sufficiently enough
I
for
hope so.
these players to play enough.
I
Because
really hope so.
well, we can't carry on the way we've been carrying on, which is as soon as Joe Linton gets injured, we're trying to force Willock or Miley into a role they haven't yet either can't do or haven't yet grown accustomed to.
Yeah.
When Murphy was dropping out, we're shoving square pegs in round holes. So yeah, I don't have a problem with having more players than would suit a first 11, because we're going to have multiple best 11s when needed. So again, it's a question is, can you keep those players
Well, look,
happy? And that's for Eddie Howe and for the club to figure
look,
out.
just to go on to the Ekatike thing, and I know we're touching on it because before everybody that's listening or everyone that's ever heard me and Paul talk in the pub, they realize that we disappear sometimes into many things. This podcast could be 2 hours long, but it won't be, everybody. But the Ekatike thing, right? Uh, they've been talking in Germany for 5 to 6 days, which is what we've led to believe. The agent all of a sudden turned up in Newcastle, even though the squad and Eddie and all that were in Austria. Then uh, they Frankfurt people and the agent flew into Austria, and all of a sudden it comes out that we gave them a written offer. Okay, a written offer. It sounds like they just got a pen out and wrote down a number and went here, and they folded it open and went no. But look at the first. They said that always with Newcastle, the first offer's always rejected. I'm just up to here, and I know everybody is, and my forehead is pretty high. I'm up to here, Paul, with hearing about us getting our bids rejected when Man City, Chelsea, Liverpool, and all that do their business so succinctly and so swiftly. It's just boom, boom, bottom. We're like, well, can maybe we can give you an extra million, or maybe we can give you an extra 50,000. I'm just saying, if we want
Yeah,
Ekatike and we've spoken for 6 days, why don't we have Ekatike then? I don't understand. It's not like
I
we've
think
just
it
been
comes
talking for a
down
day.
to like installments and or the mix of the add-ons, the installments, how much you're paying up front. I think all that matters, because Eintracht Frankfurt are going to want to have money to spend straight away as well, like
Mm,
quick enough. And I think it's a lot of that. Whereas the bigger clubs who have just more money can say,
mm.
right, well, we'll give you 70 or 80 up front, and then the rest. Whereas we might be offering 50. I don't know. I'm
No,
speculating.
no, I know what I mean. Like you're
Um,
saying, it's an 80 million offer, but it might actually just be 60 million with
Well, it's just how
20
much are they
million
getting
this.
now and how much they're getting later, and quite often, Eintracht Frankfurt, look, they get to Europe quite frequently, but they wouldn't be a big club, a massive
No,
club in by even by the Bundesliga standards. So they're going to want bang for their buck as well. And yes, of course, they know that we are owned by effectively the richest club owners in football, and they don't give a shit about PSR, and why would they? Do you know what I
yeah,
mean?
but
They just
yeah, but like supposedly your man is like a German Steve Parish. He's a bit of a suave bastard with his
that's more
nice
of it now.
suits and his yeah, and
The
he's
world
kind
doesn't
of
need a German state parish.
no, they don't, and he's kind of like he's kind of like well no, he's worth this much, and we've already told you how much he's worth, so
Mm,
I don't want to negotiate nothing. Just give me this, and then you can have him. But other than that, no. And so I'm kind
okay.
of worried. I'm just kind of concerned. Like I'm really impressed with what they're trying to do, Paul. But I'm just kind of like, look, just go and get the people that said that they wanted to join the club, and we have the money to pay for them. Stop this crap, because I think I'm literally going to go insane. The amount of stuff that comes up on social media every day, like Keith Downey's
And
pretty much every hour
this is
coming up with
it, yeah,
stuff.
and it's hard not to get emotionally invested in it as well, right? And you just want to see things happen, but again, I think we have a very careful ownership. We're also missing some key individuals that probably sit in those rooms and have those conversations.
Mm,
Paul Mitchell's not there. We don't know if
good.
Darren Eales is handling those conversations. Like, there's no director. It's just a question of who's handling what in terms of how quickly it gets done. Um, but obviously, there's been another spanner in the works then today on this
Mm.
whole issue with Liverpool.
Ugh.
As we've alluded to, the thought that we're ambitious enough to go and spend that money on Ekitike and keep him and play him alongside Isaac and Gordon and Delanga and Bruno and Sandro and everyone
Mm,
is unreal. Um, but there is speculation going around that, okay, two things. One, this is potentially a replacement for Alexander Isak.
in 2 years' time.
Whether it's this summer, whether it's next summer, whether it's down the line, that is going around obviously. And the other thing that's coming around now is with Liverpool, whereby
Mm,
Liverpool are starting to throw a bit of weight around and saying things like either A, no, we want Ekitike, and in which case Frankfurt are probably delighted to get a bidding war, or B, they're saying, well, no, we want Isak. But if you don't give us Isak, well, then we're going for Ekitike. Again, it's all speculation. This is what's
mm,
happening online, from at least from what I can see. Um, I think either way, um, I still feel Newcastle hold a lot of cards here, particularly if we focus on Isak. Isak's still on a 3-year contract. He hasn't handed in a transfer request as far as we know.
mm.
We have Champions League football to offer. We don't need to sell him price wise. And the biggest thing for me, Krisha, before I hand over to you and your thoughts about Liverpool, is Liverpool went to bought Florian Wirtz, also from a German team,
Mhm,
for a reported £116 million.
mhm.
So, regardless of how much you or me or anyone thinks Isak is worth, Liverpool themselves now have gone and almost set a bit of a bar here to say, well, if you're going to buy a player from outside the Premier League, who granted has massive potential and fantastic talent,
Yeah.
but isn't a Premier League 20 plus goal scorer for 2 seasons in a row, a world class striker that literally is your season changer. So if you're paying 115, 120 million for that guy, tell us why this guy isn't worth 150. There's not really a leg to stand on. So Liverpool have
No.
almost contributed to that, and I'm okay with that aspect of things. I think it further substantiates Isak having that massive fee.
Look at Liverpool. Jeez, don't get me started. Honestly, we'll be here all night. But look, Ekitike, if he goes to Liverpool and Eintracht Frankfurt, they come along and say, look, we'll give you 90. Go and knock your socks off then, Liverpool. Go and have him then, because you're certainly not getting Isak. They can they can talk about it all they wish. All the ITKs, all those guys with their terrible little clip shows on X, little Mickey Mouse people coming up on Sky Sports, standing in the street talking about it. Forget it. Absolutely forget it. Just came out today. Did you see it? LFD looked like an official poster with Isak's finger going like that.
Nonsense.
And it's like as if soon. And I thought, you cheeky bastards. He's got 3 years left. The one thing that worries me, and I think people have read about it, and listeners, if you haven't, Paul Mitchell stood all over Isak agent's face 6 to 7 months ago and said, no, we won't be discussing a new contract. He's got 3.5 years left. We're not breaking the wage structure. Thanks for everything. See you later. We'll talk to you sooner. That is one of the key things I believe, not anybody else, I believe, got Paul Mitchell the boot, that got him finally kicked on his bald arse straight out of the club, because he fucked it up. He totally fucked it up, because there was a promise there to Isak that he would get a new deal if he contributed as he has contributed. And that's not fair. If there's a gentleman agreement there, there should be the agreement in place. And the one thing that I think, forget all about the Gahies and Scalvini and Trafford and all other players, right? Isak is the key to this summer. I know we want players in, Paul. Yeah, and we will. And I know we will get players in, because you have to keep building the project. But it's not getting him tied down to another 2 year extension at 200,000 a week would be criminal, essentially. I think the guy looks happy. He's got a Langa in who he knows. He gets on well with Willock. He seems to get on really well with Eddie Howe. I think his agent's a bit of a clown, trying to sell him here and there and everywhere. But it seems like he fits in up there. He's a quiet fella. He seems like he fits in at Newcastle. I don't see why he'd go down, whatever it is, the M6 or whatever the fuck it is, down to Liverpool to be literally despised for 4 to 5 to 6 years by the people who used to love him. I mean, it just wouldn't make for a good life for him. Like it's better off he goes to Barcelona or Real Madrid or I don't know, AC Milan or Inter Milan or something. That's fine. I'd be delighted for him. I'd be like, good man, he's like, I'll watch it every Tuesday night. But he can't just go down the road and join Liverpool. It would be absolutely criminal, and everyone at the club at an executive and decision making level should be ashamed of themselves if it does happen because this is
Yeah,
the
I mean,
project. He is the project. He is it. We're building
I
around him.
yeah, I think the issue here is probably no, I'm sure what do I know, right? But um, everybody's talking about Isaac, right? The agent, I looked up the agents. From what I can see, Isaac is by a mile the biggest client this agency has. I think
Mhm.
the next one, like the next closest in terms of value, is like Emiliano Martinez or something, who's also on the move. And here we go, more crack.
The Villa keeper.
But if you're, yeah, yeah, he's
Yeah.
also in the same agency basically. But they don't seem to have any loads of big names. Isaac seems to be by a mile the biggest one, so they're probably putting a lot of eggs in that basket. Like for me, I think where you have issues here is like Isaac's on 120 grand a week at the moment.
Mm.
Mason Mount earns nearly three times that, or two and a half times that, and it's fucking Mason Mount, as does Rashford and Jack Grealish, and players who just haven't done anything remotely close to what Isaac has done in the Premier League for two seasons in a row. So by that note, and it mightn't be Isaac, right? But Isaac is like, okay, go take care of that for me, to his agent, he
I don't
pays
think he
probably
can.
a
I don't think he minds about money. He doesn't look like a guy that
he's
really.
not going to mind, but he's going to want his worth naturally, right? Who wouldn't? Okay.
Mm.
But the agent is looking at it going, well, I want my worth, or I want his worth, etc. So these numbers are very well published to say what these other players earn, and the agent is probably standing in the room going, well, he deserves a minimum of 300,000 because players worse than him are getting more. Now, obviously, that's a very just black and white way of looking at it, no
Yeah,
pun
yeah,
intended.
that might be the case though.
But if it comes out that the club have been trying to stonewall a little bit, or offering 180 when we should be giving him 200, 250. There's
Mm.
always going to be the fear that if he gets 250, then Tonali or Bruno or someone or Gordon or whatever is going to be like, well, we should be on closer. That is going to happen no matter what way we progress as a club in the next few years. It's just a question of how soon it happens. But
So you say
so
we,
just
we
just
say, you say we break the seal, and then
the
everybody
seal has
else's
to be
agent,
broken regardless.
everybody's agent will go. Well, hang on. Well, what's he? What's Bruno getting?
When
What's
it
Tonali
comes
getting?
to negotiation time, yes. Now the seal is going to have to be broken regardless. Isaac is, or if he's not, it's insane. But he should be told straight away, we're going to make it the highest paid player in this club's history and the highest paid player in the current squad, right?
Yeah,
He would do that by earning 200 grand.
yeah.
Right, unless for some fucking wild reason we gave Michael Owen that, but I'm fairly sure we didn't give him 200 grand a week because that was insane that would be an insane number for back in the day.
You
So
had
I
to go
think
and ruin it. You had to go and mention
I
him about
know I had
money,
to
didn't
say
you?
the name. I had to say the name. But point
Uh,
being, either way, if he signs a contract, he will become our highest ever paid player. But for me, it's a question of like, are we offering him 200 when he can easily get 250 or 300 down at Liverpool because they're already paying Salah more than that, and that's where one eyebrow gets raised and money talks. At the end of the day, even if you're the nicest guy in the world, as we think and love these activists, that's the battles that'll be happening. But again, to go back on point, um, there's questions over is okay, is it this year? Is it next year? I'm not even going to speculate about either of them. I think what will determine whether Isaac goes is if Isaac wants to go. And
I think.
as of
Yeah,
right now, there's out of everything that Ornstein and Romano and Sky Sports and Keith Downey and Craig Hope and Luke Edwards have put out there, there isn't one line that says what Isaac wants to do because nobody knows. If Isaac was throwing his toys or if his agent was really playing hardball, they'd be throwing in a transfer request to drive this through because there's always an element of player power. I'm glad that hasn't happened at the moment.
look.
That reassures me.
The news, Paul, about a broken promise has only come out in the last
And
20,
we don't know
20
how
24
true that
hours.
is, but that still hasn't translated into a transfer request as at the moment of recording anyway. So I remain hopeful that Isaac will continue to do what he's doing here, seeing what he's being brought in. And I mean, if you're able to say to Alexander Isak,
Yeah.
hey, look, Anthony Langa's here. Look at the assists and the creativity he can offer you. Hugo Ekitike is here. Not only what he can partner with you on, but also relieve you because we know Isaac was forced to play when he wasn't fit, right? That wasn't fun either, I'm sure,
No.
and we could see that. So like he's had to withdraw from Sweden teams many times because of fitness, so, and I'm sure he didn't like doing that. So I like to think that we can offer him money, a big bag of money, upgrading the squad, talking about those players, give him the number nine, make him the highest paid player at the club, and
Here's what
then
I think is here's
I
what I
think
think
we're
is
in a
going to happen.
position
Right?
there. I think
Yeah.
this is why I think we have a lot of the cards
I
basically.
I think what's going to happen here, right? I honestly believe this, right? But like I've never been right, so don't listen to me. But it doesn't matter. Ekatike is going to come in. He's going to get offered, I don't know, 120,000, 130,000 a week, or maybe he might even get offered more, 150,000 a week because his agent's a greedy bastard. But Isaac, that's the point where that's the breaking point. So they need to get the Isaac thing done first before they start bringing in these sensational replacements with bags of money offered a week. Get him pinned down. Look, Isaac, we understand, that, there's a lot of clubs out there that want you. You came as part of the project on a 6 year deal. We're still going there. We're in the Champions League. We've won our first trophy. Give us another year or 2 years. Okay. He's like, yeah, I'm happy here. Yeah, no problem. I just need a little bit more money. Can you speak to my agent? Yeah, no problem. Ekatike is going to be brought in. Oh, is he? I thought he didn't want to play here. No, no, he's going to be brought in to play alongside you, or so you're not playing 3 games a week. Great, yeah, Ekatike is sound. Yeah, bring him in and spend. It's just come up there, Paul, that Newcastle had a bid reject of £69 million. So exactly 80 million euros was rejected. That was the official offer, the first offer that they made for Ekatike. That's what's £6 million over our record.
Hmm.
63 million pounds for Isak. I've got an awful, delicious feeling that they might go back in with 75 million pounds, because I think this is what the Longstaff thing is going to help with. Just a little bit of extra fund, get that done, get it sealed, get a couple of extra pounds in. Look at people thinking, why do we have to work like that? This is ridiculous. No, look, let's just live in the real world here. Newcastle are not Chelsea. They're not Liverpool.
Yeah.
They're not Man City. Not yet, anyway. Maybe another 5 to 7
Well,
years we might be.
it's as simple as this, Chris. Show the 10 million, the 12 million plus three for Sean Longstaff probably opens up the ability for us to spend 50 over
Right.
the way PSR works and amortization, pure profit, etc., etc., etc. 10 million means nothing to the rest of those clubs. It means a lot to us. That's where we are, and that's where we have to accept we are. And it is
That,
what it is in the PSR world
that might get
until
us
there's more
Trafford.
revenue.
That might get us
It might,
Trafford.
yeah, yeah.
Or,
But
or
it's adding to it's adding to your flexibility when it comes to your annual accounts and your amortization and all this kind of shit. The way you can then, like, if we spend 80 million on Ekatike,
hmm,
and it goes on a 6 year contract, you're dividing that 80 over 6 years, and that's the way it all gets amortized and spread out over the few years.
all
Whereas
right.
the long staff money comes in and it's just 100% pure profit on the books. And it basically, the theory is that it allows you to go and spend 5 times more because of the way you spread it out. I'm no expert. That's as far as my brain goes with it, and that's as
No, but
far
I
as
mean,
Jeff
like
needs to
that
go
that
with it.
that's good news because, like, I mean, that could either get us Trafford or it could get us Scalvini. I think he's probably going to cost us 35 or 40 million pounds. Scalvini, I think, or maybe from Italy it'd be a little bit less.
But it could be more. I think I heard that they want 50, but again, don't quote me on it because they also said he's not for sale. But everybody has a price. Um, we'll see. We
Mm,
talked about Scalvini last week. No, there's no change since. We've talked about Trafford. There's no change
no
since.
change.
That's where we are.
What about
There's only one.
Gallagher? No
So
Gallagher,
there's
right?
the one player, and we're going to finish on this one because there's one other player that was named during the weekend. This is a player that's actually won me over in terms of how good he is.
Mm,
And the reason I say that is when he was being called into the England side by Southgate in whatever, what was it, 22 the
mm.
Euros? That was World Cup year, wasn't it? Whenever he was in
Yeah,
that
World
squad,
Cup.
I didn't really think he was good enough based on the other players they had available. But then since I saw him playing for Chelsea, now particularly like Chelsea were shit, but he was actually probably their best player for nearly the
And
entire
Crystal
season,
Palace,
if
he was
not,
brilliant as well.
and
Crystal Palace
brilliant
was
at
brilliant.
Palace. And now having gone under Diego Simeone, I have no issues with us looking at Conor Gallagher because, and I've talked about this before, when we
Mm,
lose Joe Linton from the squad, we lose this aggression, this tenacity, this pressing, this
mm,
ferocity, this determination that for me Elliot Anderson would have given us had we been able to hold on to him and mold him into that, and he's done a lot of it for us already.
yeah.
I think Gallagher can do that. I would be surprised if that deal got done. I'm not sure why exactly. I'm more thinking like, would he want to leave already? Maybe he wants to come back to England. I'm not sure. It wasn't the best season ever Atletico Madrid had, but for me,
Look,
this isn't a terrible idea in terms of bringing in somebody who's ready to just kick off the season straight away and can come in as soon as we need him to come in and do a hell
yeah,
of a job.
they have a good relationship there. They have a good. Clearly, they do because Atletico Madrid are playing the Sela Cup, but
Hmm.
they got Trippier. They gave him
Yeah,
what 12 to 13 million pounds. They're building up just European connections. Eddie Howe obviously knows Diego Simeone. He probably knows some of the club officials as well. I'm sure Newcastle is held in high regard by Atletico Madrid. Um, I think so, like it is with Atletico Bilbao and other Spanish teams. They think quite a lot of Newcastle United from the 2000s and that. I'm not sure. He's 25 years of age. He played really well for Atletico Madrid. I've got an awful feeling that we might like what's 40. I think it was 40 million euros, which isn't that much. Frankly, it's like 32 million pounds.
no, it's not a
Um,
huge amount. No,
and I think that Eddie Howe has liked him since he was at Palace. I think it was mentioned quite a number of times that like that was a kind of a transfer target for us to come in. So look at Al. If Al was here, and look at before we finish up, we'll mention Al again because I miss him. But it's uh, Rodoni from Coventry City is a championship level player, but at the same time has some excellent qualities. He's young, he's tenacious, he's skillful, and we could get him for probably the same price we've just sold Longstaff. And I think that would be a delicious little, cherry on top if we got Trafford, Scalvini, Gallagher, and kept Isaac and got. I don't know about the Ekatike thing. If I'm really honest with you, I'd love to see it. Don't get me wrong, and the number 9 jersey and stuff for Ekatike rather than 14. Keep Isaac with 14, but I really can't see it. I'm sorry to say, I really can't see it because Liverpool are just not going to allow that to happen. They're just not.
you've already changed your tune from a while ago when you said, "Here's what I think is going to happen." You're already doubting yourself.
No. Sorry. No. That's what I'd like to happen. But
Ah, yes, but
in
realistically,
reality,
fair,
like
fair, fair.
I can't see it because Liverpool just won't allow that to happen. But I don't understand where Liverpool, like, okay, they won the league. I get it, Paul. But where have they got? I suppose they've got better merch. They've got better sponsorships. That's
Well,
what they got.
they have better everything, Crucial, over a longer period. But if they go and sell Luis Diaz for 80 million, then do you know what I mean?
Forget it.
That's
Yeah.
like we're singing because we're about to get more than 40 million for Almiron, Longstaff, and Lloyd Kelly combined, 40, 50, whatever it is, and
Yeah.
for three players, and they're probably going to sell one for more than double. Do you know, so that's just the real. Again, it's just the reality of the situation. It is what it is. Someday we'll be there, but that's not where we are right now.
No.
Just on on Rudoni, I have to shout out a listener of the podcast who's actually a friend of mine, a guy I grew up with, who's also a Newcastle fan, and he basically so he wanted to weigh in because he has some Coventry connections, just like Alan does.
Mm.
And he said he's a passing interest in the Sky Blues. Rodoni would be a fine addition to our team. He's probably not a Premier League first teamer yet, but he's far too good for the Championship. And with Howe's guidance, could be an incredibly valuable addition to our squad, especially with the Champions League campaign coming this season. So we've had a seal of approval again from a listener, which is always great to see from
That
someone
is
who
good to
knows and
see.
has watched Coventry. So shout out to Eamon. Thank you for
Amen.
the
Good
input
man.
there. He'll love that because I know he listens to the pod.
Good man.
Um, so right, that's kind of a wrap up for this week, Krisha. We've managed to get through about 43 minutes of our second Tinder date and still talking and still in the
I
ring.
still
So
love you, Paul. I still love you.
yeah, I mean, I'm not going to go that far. I'm not going to confess these things on the internet because they stay there forever, and I'm
No,
far too.
I don't mind staying there forever.
That's fine. That's okay. I mean,
I'm in love. I'm in love.
out of the two of us, I'm not the one that's supposed to be getting married at some point in the in the near future. But anyway, that's for you to deal with, not me. That's your problem and not mine. Let's see how it all plays out. There's a hell of a lot going on.
Mm,
Take social media with a pinch of salt. Don't get too
yeah,
hung up on it, folks. Keep an eye on. For me, it's David Ornstein and probably Keith Downey are the ones I trust the
yeah,
most.
yeah.
And then you keep an eye on Romano just to see what he's spouting, but you're always looking to see where he got it from. You just never know. The rest of it, nothing's
It's
happening until
nonsense.
it's happening, and
Yeah, it's all
it's not
nonsense.
worth getting stressed over.
No,
What is good to see is that the transfer window is alive and kicking for Newcastle United, and that feels good because yeah, it's been grim over the last couple of windows, and it does keep us all going until the league starts again.
Look, we just got this. There's change coming, Paul. There has to be
Change
change.
is a coming.
It's their
Yeah,
second shot. It's their second shot in 3 years at the Champions League. I know they want to do better, and we've got many competition fronts that we've got to hit. Uh, Eddie needs 5 players, maybe
maybe
even
more.
needs maybe 6 if Willett goes to out the door somewhere or slips
Hmm.
out the door like Bambi on ice straight out to Fulham or somewhere. Right, he goes somewhere. What do you reckon we could get for Willett? Honest to God, then 25 million
Again,
pounds,
you
20.
look at baselines of other players. You're probably looking at 20, 25.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you like Emil Smith Rowe went to Fulham for 30, 35, but uh, a better player is a better player. Like
Yeah, he is. Yeah,
just by the nature, I wouldn't say we'd go that far. I'd probably be looking at 20, 25 being a good fee. We paid probably not too far off that firm in the first place, I think. But
it was
again,
25.
he's aged on since, and he's been in poor form and he's injury prone. So I mean, you'd be mad not to probably take that. And
Yeah.
again, that will go a long way for us as well. So let's see.
Right.
As you said, Eddie Howe is very loyal to his players, and I suppose the club will only sell if they have to.
Yeah.
But as we said, things are moving, and we'll be keeping an eye on it here on the Irish Mags Show every single week as we do. Thank you very much, Christian, for joining me. Thank you very much, Alan, for trying and failing, and for making me do the intro 3 or 4
Look,
times.
it's a special thing for me. It's my birthday on Friday, so like the fact that Al couldn't make it and it just ended up being me and you. It's like a birthday present.
Join me,
You know,
listeners, viewers, and watchers. Please, can you send your happy birthday wishes in the
please do.
comments, whether I'm on YouTube, Spotify, wherever you can comment. Wish Krisho a very happy birthday. We want to ask him how old he is because we wouldn't do that to him at all.
46.
Never. And a half. What's that in PSR when it's amortized over the 5 year contract we have you on?
That's
Well,
16.
on that absolute bombshell of news that's just been announced, we'll be back next week for the continued transfer speculation. We're also having some special guests join us in the next few weeks. In fact, we've got one lined up for next week, Krisho. So we'll have a fresh face to join us then and a 46-year-old Krisho alongside. So until then, thank you very much, everyone, for listening. We shall say, how are the lads? Slán go fóill, and we'll see you all
So,
very
lad.
soon.
See you
Take care.
guys. Good luck.